Peru's anti-drug squad attack illegal cocaine production in the Amazonian jungle. They blow craters along the airstrips used by drug traffickers.
It's noisy, it's dramatic, but is it effective?
Increasing numbers of desperate Europeans are prepared to take the risk of smuggling cocaine out of Peru.
You lose your family, you lose friends, you lose your life.
And thousands of desperate people in Peru depend on cocaine production to survive.
Da plata poco para sostener nuestra casa, pues lo que se quiere comprar.
The Peruvian government is spending millions of dollars on eradication. But is this the way to tackle the problem?
This is not a military problem. We need to talk in economic, social terms.
The Pacaltsu Valley in the Amazon jungle, where every clearing is devoted to the growth of the coca plant. Peru now grows more coca leaf than any other country in the world, producing hundreds of tons of cocaine a year for export. The anti-drugs police squad arrive as part of a government eradication program. They start pulling the roots from the rich soil. The coca is a hardy plant which, left to grow, produces 4 crops a year. It provides work and money for the locals here, where there's little else.
El campesino es explotado inclusive con el tema de la producción o los cultivos de coca. A ellos les pagan mínimo también. Los que se benefician realmente son los traficantes.
The coca workers have fled by now, so why do the eradicators need guns?
Todavía en esta zona tenemos organizaciones de traficantes de droga y usted entenderá que los traficantes de droga tienen armas, tienen poder para poder hacer cualquier atentado contra nuestros erradicadores. Es por eso la principal razón de que se le da seguridad a los erradicadores.
The team move on to makeshift factories hidden in the thick jungle, equipped with all the ingredients for cocaine production. The maceration pits are filled with dry coca leaves, water, petrol and acid, and crushed by foot to make coca paste.
Hemos encontrado en algunos lugares que algunos traficantes se aprovechan de los niños de esta zona para poder utilizarlos como trabajadores para pisar las hojas de coca. Eso es algo que no podemos entender. Los explotan en ese sentido, estos niños. Sulfúrico.
Finally, they add acetone and sulfuric acid to obtain cocaine chloride, the cocaine in white powder form, ready for export.
Tenemos entendido que parte de droga del Perú también está entrando al Reino Unido. Hace poco hemos tenido un gran decomiso de droga que estaba entrando para Lituania. Más de 354 kilos de cocaína que hemos encontrado en el puerto de Paita. Esto evidencia que efectivamente la droga del Perú sí está entrando a Europa y otros países de Asia. Esto nos evidencia, es una evidencia acá, por ejemplo, que han habido 14 personas.
Alongside the noxious ingredients, there's evidence of a hastily abandoned camp, suggesting there were 14 locals working in dangerous and uncomfortable conditions. Nonetheless, they can earn more here than they'd get from farming any other crop, but they won't be coming back. The drug is transported overland to the rivers, where it's loaded onto boats and taken to a network of illegal airstrips built along the banks of the rivers, like the one here on the right. Light aircraft, which can carry up to 400 kilos of cocaine at a time, come from neighboring Bolivia to collect it.
Una avioneta Cessna 206 más o menos demora 3 horas y media para entrar de la frontera de la provincia de Pando en Bolivia a esta zona de Palcazo. Esa cocaína tiene dos caminos. Uno que puede ser consumida especialmente en Brasil, que tiene más de 190 millones de habitantes, que se ha convertido en uno de los países más grandes de consumo de crack especialmente, pero gran parte también de esta cocaína que sale no solamente del Perú, sino de Colombia, de Bolivia, sale también para Europa.
The pilots who land the planes here at night are said to earn millions of dollars, with the team now prepared to blow craters along the runway to prevent them from using this one again for now.
It's noisy, it's dramatic, but is it effective? For every one narco airstrip, as they call it here, that is destroyed by the Peruvian police, there are a dozen more in the area which remain operational. And the drug teams will be back here to repair it. It'll take only a few weeks to do that and for the airstrip to be put back into use.
The anti-drug squad are tackling a fraction of the problem. Such is the strength of the drug barons in the country, but there are areas where coca is grown in Peru where the squad can't even enter. There's no doubt about the commitment and bravery of these men, but they're not stopping the flow of cocaine out of this region. Several times a day, scheduled flights from the cocoa-growing areas in the north land 500 kilometers to the south, in the country's capital, Lima. A passenger disembarks at the domestic terminal and checks in for an international flight to Madrid. The dogs are on patrol tonight. Four kilos of cocaine are found in the passenger's case. It's clear that it had been packed by experts. The 25-year-old Spaniard is arrested. He says he was recruited in Amsterdam and had been promised $13,000 if he'd got through. The drug would have sold for 50 times that amount on the streets of Madrid. It was a moment of madness, he tells me. I'd lost my job and needed the money, but I now face years in jail.
The police here admit that 90% of the drug mules leaving Peru get away with it. The odds are good, but if you get caught, there's the prospect of an up to 15-year jail sentence.
Many desperate Europeans are taking the risk. With 50% unemployment among the young in some areas of Spain, Spaniards topped the list of Europeans who were arrested at Lima airport last year. Visiting day at Chorrillos prison in Lima, where the majority of prisoners are being held for drug-related crime.
Hay bastantes extranjeros de todos los países, hay bastante. Hay brasileños, ingleses, franceses, alemanes, hay de todo el país.
Conditions are tough, especially for foreigners who don't have family to bring them food, medicine, and even clean water. Two British girls, Michaela Connolly and Melissa Reed, are among the present prison population. They were arrested at Lima airport in August carrying 11 kilos of cocaine. They're currently in one of the worst prisons in Peru, according to another drug mule.
It's very thin, cramped, no? And you have not air to breathe there, really. You feel like a rat in a cage. It's very hard for these girls.
Nicole is a hairdresser from Dortmund in Germany who's currently living in a convent in Lima and helping with charitable work here. She served her prison term but can't go back home because she can't afford to pay the outstanding fine demanded by the courts. Her life went wrong, she says, after she had a nervous breakdown in Germany and fell badly into debt.
Before my country a little bit problems with money, and so I want to earn money rapido, fast and easily.
How much were you promised? How much were you going to earn for it?
10,000 euros for normally 2 kilos. I never know I have 3 kilos on my body. I have a suit, a swimming suit for water ski, and inside from this suit he was all over with drugs, packs of cocaine. He touched me, and yeah. So
And felt something?
Yeah, of course. And then she brings me in the arrest in the airport. He tastes, and he come a blue stick, and he was cocaine, no? And I say, yes, I have cocaine.
Nicole's smuggling method was so amateurish that it could be that she was set up. Another mule, Gavin from South Africa, has also served his prison term, but with no means of supporting himself, let alone buying a ticket back home, he's been living rough on the beach. Thinking back to the policeman who arrested him, he believes that he was definitely set up.
And he took out a list. He said, this lady is traveling at such and such a time, her flight leaves, this one, that one. There was a list of 4 people, and he said every single one of them will be carrying drugs. So they know beforehand who is and who isn't a suspect. I was a small fish. That's why they were waiting for me. And I know this from many people that have been caught for narco trafficking. They let the small fish get caught on purpose to distract the officials, so that the guy that's got a large amount of drugs, he gets through.
Gavin claims he fell into the trap because he was desperate. His wife had died and he needed money to educate his daughter when he was approached by a drug trafficker.
He said, oh, quick money, no problem. You'll go on a working holiday. 1 week, you'll be back, you'll have no more problems. They were going to pay me $10,000 US. I thought, well, what have I got to lose?
He got 4 years in jail, followed by a year living rough, in which time, he says, he's learned a lot about how the drug barons dominate this country.
Everything is an inside job. They've got people in the police, they've got people at the airports, they've got people in organized crime. All of them are on the payroll. Drugs is the economy of this country.
Construction and corruption are everywhere in Peru today, and people here tell you the two activities are intertwined. The building industry is just one of the businesses used by the drug barons to launder money with impunity. You don't get the violence in the streets of Lima compared with the cities of Colombia or Mexico. I asked the man who used to be in charge of the anti-drugs program here why.
We solve the things not with lead, but with silver. In Colombia, maybe things are sorted out another way, but in Peru, people do business. Police does business. Prosecutors do business. Politicians as well. So, if you are rich enough in order to avoid a prison, could be possible.
And the corruption here reaches to the very top, according to one of Peru's most senior judges.
Ahí de muchas maneras se ejerce la corrupción, ¿no? En principio, enmascaradamente para el tema de no poder ni deber investigar a personajes de alto nivel por los, digamos, el ejercicio de poder que se hace en algunos momentos, de poder político, de poder económico, de poder social. La corrupción bien entendida, ¿no? O siempre está orientada a tener que decir que el que recibe dinero es corrupto y el que le entrega es el corruptor. Pero también corrupción es la inacción, es no hacer lo que uno debería de hacer.
The government would argue that this is what they're doing. High-profile eradication programs which journalists are invited to film. Their critics say that tackling the problem of drugs in Peru like a military operation is not working.
One of the few things that we have learned in the last 30 years is that this can't be understood as a war.
Ricardo Soberon was fired from his job as the country's drugs chief because, he claims, the government don't want to hear what he has to say.
Besides the farm, a kilo of pure cocaine costs $800. When that same kilo arrives to Lima, it costs $2,500, $3,000. When that same kilo arrives, let's say to London, it will cost 25,000 pounds. And if you understand that that kilo will convert immediately into, you will have 50,000 pounds. We need to talk in economic, social terms. For those who had been excluded, the drug business is the way of being part of the globalized economy in the world.
The town of Constitucion in the cocoa-growing area. A road and bridge were built here when the idea was to make this town, in the middle of the Amazonian jungle, the capital of Peru. But the idea didn't catch on. Instead, the drug mafias poured across the bridge and made this their capital. At night, the booming town has the full complement of nightclubs and bars expected of a drug-fueled economy. Their clients are the men who grow the coca leaf, manufacture cocaine, and build the jungle airstrips. No wonder the girls tell you, business is good.
Nos da regalos, nos invita a comer y nos da algo sencillo para sobrevivir mejor.
No tanto los policías, no.
But Carlos Chacon, an ecologist and poet, remembers with nostalgia the paradise he found when he moved here 30 years ago, before the drug barons, a memory reflected in his poetry.
Refugio de mi vida, tierra de mis amores, selva querida, por falsas riquezas te destruyen, sangra mi corazón, siento tristezas.
He took me to the cemetery and lamented over the number of recent dead.
En los últimos años, del 2011, 2012, había un promedio de un muerto por semana como mínimo, víctimas del movimiento del narcotráfico, los asaltos en la zona, y todos esos muertos, o la mayoría, han sido enterrados en este cementerio nuevo.
The deaths, he says, are due to locals fighting for their share of the drugs business.
Tenemos una generación de jóvenes que, no saben qué hacer, ¿no? Y terminan la secundaria y ven que otros tienen cosas con eso, motos, carros, se divierten. Entonces lo ven como una salida, como una alternativa. Pienso que la gente hace eso por sobrevivencia. ¿Y qué puede hacer la gente si no tiene otra forma de vivir?
Where local people are excluded from the drugs business, you hear only complaints. Matilda Ramirez, a small farmer living on the outskirts of the town, was forced by the eradication program to give up growing the coca leaf.
Y ahora por eso estoy sembrando mi cacao, hacerle pruebas también mi cacao, plátano también nos cuesta. Casi nos bota mucho dinero, a veces nos cuesta un solo el kilo que pues no abastecemos en nuestro colegio. Yo tengo hijos que estudian en colegio y nos piden colaboración. Por eso hay algunos se siembran regular poquito para nosotros, ¿cómo se llama?, matricular nuestros hijos, para pagar derechos de paja. Nos piden colaboraciones en colegio. No tenemos suficiente plata para poder mantener.
No wonder so many farmers who've had their plants torn out move to the areas where the eradicators can't reach them in order to plant the coca leaf again. Those who argue that eradication is not working say that cocaine production can only be tackled by helping the small farmer to not grow coca. The military-style eradication operation gets 4 times as much money as that given to farmers to develop alternative crops.
I think that we should think on paying directly to them for every single gram of cocaine that is not produced by them. A kind of a health preventive tax that should be paid by European countries, and that will significantly improve the livelihood of thousands of peasants that are now involved in this economy. We need to give them fair prices for their cacao, their coffee, and any other legal agriculture that is done in this difficult territory.
In the absence of such an agreement between Peru and the drug-consuming nations of Europe, the drugs trade looks set to continue and even flourish. More foreign mules are entering the country, and the unlucky ones will end up in prison. The 2 British girls, Melissa Reed and Michaela Connolly, have been in jail for 4 months now, awaiting a trial. After their latest court appearance, their lawyer said they might be offered a reduced term if they give the police information about those who sent them here. Nicole, the former drug mule, advises them not to.
This is a very, very dangerous business. He can kill me in the jail. So I never say the names, I never say anything. I say it's my fault, my things. Yeah, I have not to tell this, and all the girls have to do this. Why it's very dangerous you say the name, and your sentence don't go less when you say something. It's a lie. You lose your family, you lose friends, you lose your life, you lose all. And the men or the women was sending you here, and no interested of you.
Don't do it. I mean, this was my first time and my last time. That lot of money cannot buy your freedom. I've lost 5 years of my life here in Peru.
Now it's my 4th Christmas here. And before, I think when I come out, yes, I want to be with my family in this Christmas, but don't function. I cannot say what for day I can go home.
Nicole and Gavin may not have benefited from the drug business, but too many people in and outside the country now depend on the coca leaf of Peru for for there to be much prospect of an end to the trade in cocaine. Even a senior police officer here has admitted that trying to stop cocaine production with helicopters and explosives is like trying to catch the wind.